Thinking about doing this video tomorrow. It's literally like 11 p.m. over here, so I could have just waited, but I'm feeling a bit energetic, so I have like 30 more minutes in me before I go to bed. So I'm just gonna run it. So this video is all about like studying Bridgman's figure drawing, and like David Finch, continuing from like the things you need to know like whenever you're starting like to make comics, which one of the most important things is figure drawing. So that's what we are going to look at in this video, and I'm going to study. So I'm just feeling like I have an extra like energy to study this evening. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, let's get straight to the video. The video is not that long. It's 29. Well, actually, that's long. It's 29 minutes. So
Studying from Bridgeman's
we might be here a
Guide
while.
to Drawing from Life. It's a continuation of my last video, how to get started learning how to draw comics. I consider this stage of learning to be the most important, and this is also the stage where I've...
So what I did was that I just went ahead and I downloaded George Bridgman's book. Constructive Anatomy is the name of the book, and well, I'm just going to like look at it. I don't know. I don't think that's actually the book that he's using. Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. I actually saw this book, but I didn't download it. God. So I think it's a different book. But anyways, I'll just proceed regardless.
Many people quit. It's time consuming, it's a commitment, and while there are no shortcuts, studying at this stage properly is really the best shortcut you can get to developing your constructive figure drawing. Alright, so in our last video about how to get started drawing comics, we worked on basic proportion, simple gestural figures, and some basic construction, and we started looking at comics and some other things in order to start drawing some of those figures. In this next section, we're going to start taking things further, and my favorite method for doing that is looking at Bridgman's Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. There are other books out there that are probably equally as good. This is the one that I learned from. This is one that so many comic artists I know have learned from, and it's really what I'm familiar with, so I'm going to show you this book. But if you have a different book that you like better, please feel free. We're going to use a two-pronged approach to learn from this book. We're going to draw basically all the figures in this book. We're going to start with these ones here, and just use what we already know to be able to start constructing figures using this. There's going to be a lot of shape language that's happening in these that you can really pick up on, and you grow from it very quickly, and there'll be a lot of things that you don't really understand yet as you're drawing these, and that's really where the second part of our approach will come in. This book is broken up into sections. You've got hands, you've got arms and legs and torsos and the whole works. So much of the anatomy that I understand really comes from these drawings right here.
Yeah,
so
I can actually see that.
we're going to draw some gestural figures of the figures in this book, and then we're also going to be working on study, and we're going to be doing both of these steps each day until you work your way all the way through this book. We're going to go ahead and just get started drawing some gestural figures. And now I'm skipping ahead in the book just a little bit because I wanted to work on a figure that's on this side of the page in the book, because then I can show you my drawing alongside what I'm looking at. But I recommend you draw everything in the book. Now, for me to just draw this figure would be incredibly difficult if I don't really know what I'm doing, and that's kind of where we are right now. And if I just start trying to draw, I'm going to start maybe with the shoulder, and I'm going to draw that shape here, and then go down into the arm. I've got another line here, and down into his forearm, and I can get a decent result, but this is really not...
So actually, the human body has like a lot of flow to it, in my humble opinion. And like you can see this pose, it looks simple, right? But actually, when you begin getting it, like if you don't understand like the shapes that you could use to like break it down, you can see his hips is tilted a little bit. But if you like don't understand it, it can be a bit difficult. Hello, Pro, how you doing, man? Nice to hear from you again. Thank you for joining the stream, man. How's your day going? How's school? How's practice? How's assignments, homework? How's everything going, man? Nice to hear from you. What's popping?
Approach drawing, and it's something that I don't think...
Oh yeah, as I was saying, so you sort of like need to understand like what I was saying with like counterbalance, like with anatomy, and that happens like with every single muscle in the human body, right from like the shoulders and hips up to the like the calves, the way the muscles are structured on the body to give it that stability and ability to be mobile. It's going well. How about you? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm just chilling, doing some studies, trying to improve my art. That's essentially what I'm doing, my brother. That's what I'm doing, man. Anyways, the way I'm just going to break this down is I'm going to use like simple shapes so that it's going to be easy for me. And whenever you're drawing, because most people do make these mistakes, they tend to go like very intense and start. But no, you need to give yourself room to make errors and like to draw something that doesn't look good, because a lot of the time, especially if you're not someone that is very practiced in the art of like drawing figures, or if you're just starting out, this can be a bit like difficult for you. So you kind of have to like allow yourself, just give yourself space, so that you don't do things that actually suck, you know. Hello Pavadas, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna call you Pava. So there's a lot of form in this, so I'm just going to just have to be very patient with this, with yourself, I would say. And I'm just going to put this entire shape. Another thing you could do, like I've said this before, I said this an hour ago when I was like in the other stream. If you're drawing, one thing you could do that could actually help you is that you could draw the entire body first before you draw the head, because if you draw the head, you might tend to like just always look at the thing you did wrong. You just don't stop giving great tips. Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyways, so we've put down our, what do you call it, our legs. Now we're going to do the same for our arms. And these days, I just tend to just care about like simple like shapes. I just do like a simple curve to help me with like the direction that of the figure that I'm copying. I didn't do this last time. I don't know why. Uh, Everyone has their way of learning. David Finch is not going to approach this the same way, but we most likely will end up at the same result. So, uh, yeah, you just need to figure out. That's why you need to do a lot of studies so that I figure out the thing that works best for you. So over here now we have. I know it's very faint. I know it's very faint, but over here we have the figure. My figure is a bit more taller and thinner than the one that he has. Uh, well, let's see how it ends. Oh yes, I got the head perfectly, and that's what like drawing this way actually helps you to do. I think I didn't position the head in the right place. All right, let's see what he has
very
to
well
do.
in the book. And this is why we started the way that we did in the first video. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and we're going to do this following the same rules that we used in the first video.
It's so good that he's left-handed, because I actually enjoy looking at it on this side of the video rather than this one. It doesn't
So I'm
matter
going to go
really,
ahead
to be fair.
and draw a chest shape. That's going to be here. Just simple gestural drawings. There's going to be the cutouts for my arm.
So you can see how very light it is. So it's giving me room to make mistakes and not feel bad about the fact that I'm not at Kim Jong-il's level. Yeah, exactly.
My clavicle is going to go just about here. I'm going very, very loose and very easy. I don't want to get bogged down drawing any kind of detail, anything accurate. I can just
All right. Now we're going to add a bit of detail, and so we're going to do the clavicle, like he said. Then we're going to add the chest, the pectoralis muscles. Then we're going to add of course, center line, very important. I really like this figure. Like, it's very human. It's not so stylized, but you can still feel the stylization. All right, let me actually because I really want to get this right. That oblique area, then the hip area. All right. Now that you mention it, you're right. Yeah. There are more than one ways to skin a cat, as they would say. Anyways, I'm getting carried away. Let's going to put our chest over here like this. John is feeding us with 2 streams in a row. Yeah, I'm feeling I just had some before I started that previous stream. I actually had some, I wouldn't call it an energy drink, but I had a decent amount of sugar, so I'm feeling extra vibrant. Oh, this is so much fun. Anyways, we have the obliques over here like this, and then we have the legs, the leg muscles. That is the vastus lateralis. No, vastus medialis. This is the vastus medialis. And then the knee. And then what else? The gastrocnemius. We have the ankles. Yeah, that's the, what's the name of the muscles? Anterior tibialis. Now this is the vastus lateralis. That's the rectus femoris. And then what else? Then we have the legs. I can feel myself getting better with each drawing, actually. You can never get enough of can never get enough of, figure drawings. You can always get better, yeah? Anyways, let me put what he's drawing
Down,
to the
and
side.
then I can mold it basically like clay. So my head kind of looks like it's just about here. Let's just get that roughed in for now. That'll be fine. We'll refine it in just a minute. The arm's going to come out basically like this. Let's just get that arm in there. I just want the placement right now. It's going to be here. The hand looks like it's just about here. I'm drawing a ball for my wrist, and then I can just draw a shape for where my hand goes here. And now my other arm is going to come out just about here, and I'm really concentrating on the angles that I'm using and not looking at the shapes too much. I don't really want to get lost in that. Here's another ball for my wrist. I don't know that I always do that, but I'm doing it there, so there you go. Here's my other hand. I just want that basic shape. That's just about it. And my body has a bit of a curve out this way. If you look, the top of the body is curved out versus the bottom of the body, and it's got a bit of an angle, and you really want to capture this stuff. This is the key to really making these figures sing. So I'm curved out this way, and then I come out basically this way, so I'm just going to curve that line around, and then when I draw my pelvis, I'm going to draw the top of that shape just like this, and now it's going to be curved this way, and then my hip is just going to be about here. I'm not worried too much about capturing those shapes yet. I just want to get the basic pose down using very, very simple gestural shapes. Bottom of my leg, the more you can capture in this stage, obviously the better off you'll be, but don't sweat it too much. And you'll find that you'll capture more and more as you go along, just naturally. And that's really, you see the difference in spacing I have with my hand there? And I'm going to fix that because I want this to be decently accurate. And this is the stage to fix it. My other knee is going to be, you'll notice it's lower here. There we go, bottom of my leg here, and now feet. And I have to admit, when I drew these figures, when I was learning how to draw, and this was way back in 1992, I skipped the feet because they were hard. And I skipped the hands too, because I was so focused on making the arms and the legs and that kind of thing.
Yeah, Sharky, he's talking to you. He's talking to you. You always keep the hands and the legs, yeah? Especially when you're painting. You just be like, yup, skip. And then you just go to like the other parts of the body. Yeah, he's saying back in 1990, what, 1992? He was doing the same thing. Yeah, he's talking to you directly. He's talking to you directly.
And I paid a price for that for years. And I joke.
Yeah, he's saying you pay a price for that. Yo, it's like he's in the stream with you.
Around that I can't draw feet. I'm probably not the best at it, but it took a lot of study years later for me to really actually overcome that deficit in my knowledge because I skipped it when I was on the stage. So let's go ahead and see if we can fix this arm just a little bit, just to make it a little more accurate. I want this to be just about as accurate as possible. I think I'm going to lift that arm out just a little bit more, bring this here, and my hand fit right in about here, about that level. And so we're going to try and put it there and just trust the drawing that we're looking at. There's my figure basically roughed in just about the same way. And this is really the way to approach it. I'm ignoring all of that detail and just focusing on just getting that figure in. And so I'm going to lighten this down. And you'll notice you can still see the...
It costs an arm and a leg, or hand and a foot in your case. Exactly.
Line there. This is why I'm using a kneaded eraser instead of my white eraser. I really want to be able to see what's underneath still. And now...
Exactly, guys. So, guys, don't be so, like, if you focused on perfection, like, when you're starting out, don't be. I'll never get tired of saying this, because I consider, like, David Finch one of, like, the best comic book artists of all time. In my own opinion, you might not agree with that, but that's just my own opinion. And he's using a kneaded eraser whilst he's drawing. Yeah, and he does that, like, for every single masterpiece, comic book work that he does. And he like, you know, if he's using it, like, I don't see any reason why, like, you feel like very insecure about your art. When, if you're feeling insecure about the art, just simply erase it and try again, and try as much as possible. You know, as long as you have the materials, yeah, just keep trying.
That I've got that, I can start to actually...
Like, for instance, this work I just did here, I'm seeing a lot of errors that I made. Yeah, I could have made him a bit more, like, wider and things like that, and I could erase this and, like, start again. But I don't give a damn, because, like, this art doesn't define me. It's just like a moment for me to, like, learn. It's called practice.
Try and translate some of this real detail here. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm starting with the shoulder. There is no good reason for this. So if you're more comfortable starting somewhere else, really just do that. This is a really important shape here. It uses different anatomical shapes than I use now, and I'm trying to really be aware of that and not just gloss over that. There's a bit of an indent here that I really like. I like how he's described that right there. And you can see how I can get in here and I can put these things in, and I know that I'm putting them in the right place because I've got my figure established. And this is the key to really making your figures work, both in terms of your anatomical detail and your overall structure. There's really not a huge amount of detail to this. It's really just intended to be used as a learning figure, which is totally fine. That's really what we're here for right now. He's got a very odd peak out on the cheek here. And the truth is, I actually didn't really use Bridgeman a lot for heads, but we're going to do that now. What I would really recommend you do when it comes to heads, and I have a video on this, is to look at Andrew Loomis. I think his head construction is much more usable than Bridgeman's. This head construction...
Yeah, Andrew Loomis is the GOAT when it comes to, like, drawing faces and, like, drawing, will I say expressions? Yeah, drawing, like, faces, like, actually getting the proportions of a person's face. Like, if you just study Andrew Loomis, understand the planes of the head, the planes of the face, both on the front view, side view, and three-quarter view, it becomes easier, whether you're painting or whether you're just doing figure drawing in general.
It's very odd to me, and I really almost feel like I should just be stopping and using my Andrew Loomis construction, but we're not going to do that now. Let me bring that out. See, I feel like you can see where my clavicle is coming in here, and you can see where it's coming in here. I've really kind of botched that a little bit, so let's bring that out and use my white eraser to get rid of it completely and try and fix that a little bit and get that centered a little better. And there we go. I think that's definitely a little better.
There's another guy that I would recommend. It's Brian Knox. He was trained by Jeff Watts, which was trained in this technique. Okay, the guy, does he have a YouTube video, tutorial? Does he do tutorials as well? Does he do tutorials? He says his name is what? Brian Knox. Let's see. Brian Knox. Oh, he has a YouTube. Does he post, like, regular tutorials? Yo, did I pronounce his name well, right? This was talking about relationship. Oh, this is the Brian Knox. Oh, okay. Oh, he doesn't have, like, a... Okay, Foundation Art School. That's his. I think that's his page. Foundation Art School. Let me check. Oh, okay, okay. Superintendent George. Okay. No, the sound is not gone. I just turned it off. I was talking to someone on screen.
Odd instruction for me. There's a cut just across here. I think works really well, and
Anyways, I've checked it out. I'll check him out later. So I'll be getting notifications of his post. So I'll check out his like tutorials and stuff. And yeah, thanks for that, George. I appreciate that.
anatomically works really well, which you will see in just a minute. We're going to be working on some of this stuff. Just looking at this and seeing that line there, if you don't understand really the anatomy underlying it, these things can start to seem like arbitrary decisions. But the more underlying anatomy you understand, the more useful this will start to be.
All right, I think I got this one. Let's see the next illustration.
The knowledge really compounded, and this is why. And I really think
Yeah,
that you can
okay,
get
he
from
took his time to like actually work on it. Oh my God, his figure looks really good. Like, look at that. Yeah, that actually looks really good. Look at that. That looks really good. That is so good. That looks very good. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. That looks really good. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just going to
Hogarth.
put
His
that to the
drawings
side
are
and move on.
really, really curvy and exaggerated, and to me, I think it's
He said there's another guy I recommend as well. Is he's what Rock Hikim. Rocky Kim. He's the current Marvel comic lead for the team. The name is Rock Kim, and he breaks perspective as well. Oh yeah, if he does perspective, I'm interested in perspective. If does he have a lot of perspective videos? Said Rocky Kim. Does he have a YouTube channel? Let's see. Ooh. Oh, he's Korean. Well, please let him have. Does he have like translation in his like videos? Those are some nice drawings. Yo, man, you just came here to intimidate me. What the hell? Just came here to intimidate me with top artists. Yo, I'm like John. David Finch intimidates me enough, man. Like, yo, I think that's enough, man. That's enough for today. You're just bringing world class artists and just like recommending them to me, and now I'm feeling depressed.
a very poor resource, just being honest. I don't like it at all. There are incredible artists that have based so much of what they do on his work, and they do beautiful stuff. So it's not for me to say that it's not good. For me,
Yeah, they are good, but like one at a time, please, because yo, I just saw that and yo, now I'm shaking.
it wasn't good. I like this much more hard shapes.
Yeah, I appreciate them. I appreciate them though. Yeah, I'm just playing. I appreciate them.
And clearly defined edges. All right, and so we've got a figure drawn in from this book, and this is really the way that we're going to do it. This is a very thick book. How many pages does this thing have? There are a good 350 pages of illustrations in here. So going through and drawing each one of these figures, this is a time-consuming exercise. It's not something you're going to do quickly. But you'll find as you do this, you'll get better and better and better at it. It'll make you a very different artist within the
I would say to achieve this objective of yours, three people I would recommend is one, Michael Hampton, Rocky Kim, and Tom Fox. Yeah, I know about Michael Hampton and Tom Fox. Yeah, but I don't know about Rocky Kim. I might know about his work, but or I might have seen his work, but I probably haven't like seen any tutorials or like, um, you know, stuff where he like he teaches people.
course of just a few months. And so from here, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but I really do recommend that you don't. There are so many figures that I'm skipping past that I really recommend that you draw. The more of these that you do, the better you'll get. Just the construction of that hand is absolutely incredible. But we're going to go ahead and show you another aspect of the book. And so here we are. We've already drawn a few figures in the way that I've shown you just a minute ago. And we're going to start working on arms. I'm going to go ahead and skip some of this. I have to admit, I don't really find drawing the skeleton that useful for me, but it may be for you. And he has a really interesting way of simplifying the skeleton into mechanical parts that are much easier to think about and draw. So that's something you can start with, but what I really want to focus on here, I'm going to keep skipping until we start getting to some of the underlying anatomy. And here we go. This arm right here is going to be our starting point. And this is where we're going to start learning how to actually put our anatomy together. And I find this so much more useful than most anatomy books, where you'll get all the muscles in essentially the right place, but the actual shapes of them can really leave a lot to be desired. This is a stylized anatomy, simplified down into planes, and also just drawn in a really volumetric and appealing way. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this arm here. I like it because I can see all of the anatomy all the way through. He's actually drawn the bone up in here as opposed to drawing the muscle covering. I'm going to cover it with muscle.
Yeah. I learned how to draw arms in a different way from like David Finch, and he talked about it. He explained it in like tubes. If you're drawing arms, you could just break them down into 4 sections or 4 tubes. For instance, let's say you're drawing this arm now, and then you break this down like this. Right, we have this like this. Let's say this is our whatever. What the hell do they call that? Is it an elbow? Is that an elbow? Whatever, man. Um, we have this shape like this, and then you have these 2 tubes, right? And then of course we break them down into two sections. If I'm being correct, break them down into 2 sections like this. I think that's what he did. And then let's put the hands like this. The hands are not that important, but it's just nice to have them. All right, so once he breaks this down, he's just going to begin like adding the parts of the body. Another thing that also influences me, like whenever I'm drawing muscles, is Batsias, the way he draws, like he has this like bubbly shape whenever he's drawing characters like and like muscles, and it just makes the whole drawing process so much fun. All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again. I'm going to draw my arm, and here it is. Here's my upper arm. I want to make sure to get the angle just about right. I'm curving this way. He's actually curving this way, so let's just fix that. Look at that. My whole upper arm fixed just with a simple redirection of a line, and that's why we do it this way. My upper arm is going to end just about here. My lower arm is going to be here, wider on the top, comes out to the bottom, and my hand is just going to be, let's just draw it as just a simple block shape. Just make sure that we've got everything where we basically want it. And there we go. There's my basic arm kind of roughed in. I'm going to go ahead and lighten this down. And now we're going to start working with some of the shapes that he's using. I'm still going to go actually fairly loose with this because I don't want to.
I'm going to sleep now. See you tomorrow. See you, Shaki. Thanks for staying with me, and thanks for hopping up on this live as well again. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, have a lovely night's rest. Yeah.
Get caught when I'm trying to learn anatomy in just starting to draw really slowly, making sure everything works. So I'm going to go ahead and just sketch in these shapes. The shoulder's going to kind of come up here. I'm going to leave it like that just for now. My bicep is going to come here. It peaks just about here. And my tricep, and there's a connection here. This muscle here connects into a muscle right here that goes all the way up and then comes to a point just about here. And so I'm really trying to focus as much as I can on how these muscles connect. My elbow is drawn with a little kind of a bone shape, just like that. Works very well. And then I've got a bit of an insert here. Drawn this as a very interesting kind of a shape, just like this. And this is something that I use to this day. This basic construction, in some form or other, really informs everything that I do still. Now, my tricep head, the frontal, I guess, whatever, it's going to connect just in here to the back of that. to the back of the bone here. I've got a bit of a space in here, just like this, and then my lower arm is gonna come up to a peak here and then come back in. We're just gonna draw the overall shape, just about like that, and then it has two parts to it.
Yeah, that looks good. I like that.
And now there are a lot of little tiny muscles that kind of go in here, and things can get really, interesting and intricate. I really do like how he just takes a large section of muscle and just draws it as one piece. He actually has it splitting here, and it's important to know when you're learning from a book like this that a muscle can't do this. Any muscle has a connection, and then a connection on both ends, a tendon, and then the muscle, and when that contracts, those points come together or come apart. So what he's doing is he's drawing where the tendons come out, and then just drawing the massive muscles here as just one group, which I think is very, very useful. And this is why I like Bridgeman so much more than using a real anatomy book, because understanding that grouping is so much more important than each little individual muscle. You can end up with anatomy that is just way too complex to be easily memorable, and not something you can practically use for drawing. Back of the arm, there's a bone that kind of comes out here. It's got some interesting kind of shapes laid in here, and there's a little bit of a peak here. The thumb, and this is the part, and my hand, by the way, too big, I think, probably. I might have to adjust it. It is too big. This gets actually really difficult, and I certainly found this difficult when I was trying to learn, which is why I was skipping hands, because they were hard, trying to get the stuff all kind of working together. It's so easy to get lost in the shapes. And this is why I really recommend, as much as possible, that you don't do what I did and work through this stuff. That thumb was just way too big, and it was throwing my whole hand quite a bit. So let's bring the shape up here. And that's going to work much better. And I'm going to go ahead and finish out my shoulder.
I like that.
There are pieces missing in his anatomy, and he's trying to show connections. The way these muscles connect up in here, and here he's got it. But because he's not finishing out the shoulder, I actually struggled with how to finish this back shoulder piece for quite a while, and it was a bit of a missing piece in my anatomy. When at rest, your deltoid really cuts right across, just like this, pretty far. And that's something I really wasn't doing well, because it was just a missing piece.
It's 30 minutes already. Crazy how time flies,
In the anatomy, and we're going to do that.
All right, so I'm done with the muscle.
And so there we go. See here that he's really not showing. The shape was just about like this, at this angle. And then it connected to my lower arm that was just about at this angle. And then my hand pointed down just about like this. My thumb stayed pretty close to the hand in here. I think we were just about like that. There's a shape in there, but we'll worry about that in a second. That's basically...
yeah.
Very, very simple shapes that I was kind of...
Exactly. So like what he's talking about now is breaking down those like that thing I talked about with like dividing it into two what the hell do they call it? Two cylinders, and then like dividing those cylinders into like four.
Working with. And so I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to lay that down this time. And I'm going to start to try to draw my anatomy on here. So I've got my shoulder.
So we're trying something
I'm going
else.
to start there. And I went in just about like this. Connected in here. I've got my bicep just about here. My tricep. There's actually another muscle in here, and I'm going to go ahead and define that in because it connects into where my shoulder connects here. It came in just about here, and then my tricep came just along that muscle, just about like this. And this leads me to my elbow, kind of a shape like this. And this muscle connects up along the side of it. And I feel like I'm too close in here. Let me go ahead and erase that. Got a bit of a shape in here. And I'm just trying to, from memory, work through what I had going on in my drawing. I had an interesting kind of a shape cutting in like this. And then there was that shape continues up into here. Let's see, I'm already forgetting. And I've got this muscle coming in here. So the two muscles and connected just about like this. And then I had this large mass here that he had kind of separated out just like this. A peak here. I had the bone in the back of the hand and the arm just about here. He had a really short distance between this muscle and this one, and I don't seem to ever be hitting that for some reason. So I'm going to have to look at that a little bit closer to see where I'm kind of coming off. But for now, that'll be fine. Had a bit of a peak out here. By that I mean a little bit of curve here and then opposing curve this way. I remember there's a peak here, this kind of connected in here. This is a bit of a skin fold here that he had defined. This, by the way, connected here, and there's another muscle that connected just up in like that. And then the back of the hand drawn like this. And let me finish my thumb. There we go. And so there's my arm. I just drew that on my own from memory from what I was, by the way, I remember there was a bit of a cutout here. So that's my best attempt at drawing the arm that I just drew without looking at anything and seeing what I could do on my own. And this is a really important thing because while this may not be perfect, and we'll look at it.
Yeah, he's right. I'm not doing mine from memory. I'm just repeating what I just drew. Yeah, I'm just repeating what I just drew. Not doing mine from memory. Might do that later, maybe not, probably not. I just like the triceps and bicep muscles, and I'm just redrawing it. I like the shape of them.
Second, this is mine now. I have learned this well enough to draw this on my own. I'm not looking at anything. I've made this part of my own knowledge. You will have to reinforce this. This is not just going to happen right away. You'll have to do this a few more times. Go through that progression. Draw it directly from the book. Draw it on your own. Draw it from the book. Draw it on your own. You do that a few times, and this will be yours forever. And then you move on to the next angle. And this is how you really learn your anatomy in a useful way. So let's go ahead and look at our book. So here's my initial reference, and this is where I need to go through the arm that I just drew and see just how much I lost. And by drawing this arm again, looking at the reference, and then going through and drawing it on my own, and doing that a couple of times, you'll get very, very close to what was drawn in the original right here. And that is something that you will ultimately remember forever. And so when you look at life, or if you look at other comic artists, you'll have an understanding of the underlying muscles in a workable way, so you can understand the choices that artists have made, or what's really underlying the photo reference that you're looking at. And so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a study of the leg. We're going to do it the same way that we did the arm.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that here. I really like the way he draws his anatomy, his leg anatomy. That's very cool. I've always been underestimating this Bridgeman book, but I think it has a lot of really nice drawings. So I think I'll come back regularly to come back and practice the armpits. Come on, man. Come on. What page is he on? Come on, show me legs.
By the way, it should be noted, the amount of incredible, valuable information that I've just completely glossed over and skipped is enormous. And you really need to go through these steps for all of these drawings. This section on arms here showing how the upper arm connects to the forearm and all the muscles fit together is incredibly important. It makes such a big difference. This was a huge game changer for me in drawing my arms. That he's got this mass here that we've already drawn and we're now familiar with. This elbow construction that we're already very familiar with. He simplified it just a little bit more here. The big mass of muscle here is always very consistent in all of his drawings, and so it's a real landmark that you can use for you to mass your shapes in and have a simple shape language for you to be able to get all of your anatomy working in a really appealing way. I feel like I said that a couple of times, but there you go. That said, though, we're going to go ahead and skip to the leg. And so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and draw the upper part of my leg. Just like this is about the shape that he's got, so I'm gonna kind of mimic that with my underdrawing. Might as well make.
All right, like so the same thing with like the legs. The same way you split the legs into like two cubes or tubes. You split the. You have to split the arm. The same way you split the arm, you have to split the legs the same way. And you can use this for any angle that you're drawing. Put this for the center part of the leg, and then we begin drawing the muscles. Some lovely muscles. Let's put some shapes. Sorry, just thinking about something.
It easier for myself. His knee is going to come out here. Let's just draw a really simple shape for that. And then the lower leg is shaped just about like this. It doesn't need to be perfect right now. We're just kind of getting this masked in. Bottom of the leg is going to be here, and then my foot is going to come out here. And so there's my leg basically just drawn in. I'm going to go ahead and lighten this down, and we can start to work on getting some of those muscles drawn in. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start with the kneecap. It's going to be just about here. I think I made it too big. Let's size that down just a little bit. And again, keep going loose right now, especially when you're really learning these shapes. You don't want to be fighting them too much. I'm coming up at about a bit of an angle like this, and I've got a long tendon that's going to wrap. It's going to connect just about
Oh yeah,
here.
this is the inner knee, the inner legs. I think. Yeah, because that's the sartorius muscles. That's the inner leg.
It's going to wrap around and then connect just in here. And I've got some bone kind of working in here. The kneecap sits on top of the kneecap kind of floats just on top here. Now I've got this muscle, and you can see I've got my placement for it perfectly defined here. It just goes right in here, connects up to here. So let's bring it here, and there we go. This muscle, I'm going to continue up. Unfortunately, he didn't really show any of the connection up and through here, and there is a little bit more to kind of be learned, but we're not trying to learn everything at once. What we're trying to do is internalize bit by bit the overall anatomy in a really useful way. I'm already off of my initial drawing here. You'll notice he's much wider, and that's a failing of my initial sketch, but it's important to point out that if I had started with this and tried to really go in detail, I would end up with a leg that is proportionally incredibly different from what he has. Because I used it just as a simple basic underdrawing, I can go ahead and alter it as I need to, as I put these in. And the more I draw this leg, the more cohesive each step will become. This tendon follows along. There's a bit of a gap here, looks like, and there's some kind of a connects to the bone here.
All right, man. Have a nice day, Pooh. Thanks for joining again. I really appreciate the support, man. Thank you. And have a wonderful day as well.
And then there's a bit of a bump out here. And you'll notice there are numbers here. I can find out what that bump out is just by looking. And it is the I don't care. I just don't care.
Semimembranosus.
Bit of a muscle plate here. Looks like this muscle comes out here. And then there's tendons that connect down this way. And this tendon comes down like this. Let's go ahead and erase this and clean this up just a little bit. So it's going to connect down just like this. I have already lost a little bit here. Let's go ahead and fix that.
Well, that's some pelvic,
some of my shape in here, and again, I'm going to have to go ahead. And this is why I'm just being really quick and loose with this too, because it makes it easy for me to just go ahead and just make those changes. My ankle going to connect in just about here. There's a muscle right in here, and then this bone is going to come down. There's a top of the foot kind of a thing going on there, and then there's a bit of a bump out here. And to really know what's going on here, we need to look at the anatomy of the inside of the leg, but we're really not worried about that right now. What's important for us to know is that it's there. So there's the inside of the leg anatomy drawn in. And you know what the next step is. The next step is going to be to do this again. If you tried to turn this over and just draw it on your own, you'll lose too much for it to really be useful. What you want to do is draw this again. You'll actually find it'll turn out better the second time around, and then draw it on your own. And you want to run through that process a few times. Bridgeman's book has so much in it that it's not possible for me to cover it all in a video, or even really do anything more than just scratch the surface, which is what I've done here. Every one of his little figures has something else to teach, and you'll get so much from exploring the nuances in his drawing. And maybe most importantly, this is a way for you to develop an artistic anatomy. It's something that works in an illustrated style without being overly influenced by any contemporary artists. Those kind of influences you can and will always bring in later. In this figure, I love the sense of weight and groundedness that it has through the legs, the motion up into the arm. It's just a very, very powerful figure. And so I'm going through the same process that I went through before, drawing in a simple sketch and then tightening up the anatomy on top of what I had already drawn, trying to capture as much as I can from the original. I'm going to do another one here. This is a much more stylized figure.
Drawing that,
the anatomy on top of.
You do this so much to the point whereby it will become instinctive on how to like draw this type of forms. It will just become so familiar to you, and that's the goal with all these studies. That's the goal. Hopefully it will be like that when I start perspective. All right, I got that pretty fast, I would say. Just look at how delicious he's making the forms. I can't lie, Bridgeman, I've actually been underrating this book. Yeah, I should study it more. There's just so much resources, man. Look at the time we live in as a species. And whatever you want to learn, you can just get so much resources on that subject and just learn it. And if you are dedicated enough, you could achieve some decent level of mastery in that field. You just have to be patient with yourself and be consistent. What a time we live in, man. What a time we live in. Find your country, and I wonder what feels,
what I had already drawn, trying to capture as much as I can from the original. I'm going to do another one here. This is a much more stylized figure. It's very, very blocky. And I do want to try and capture that because I want to experiment with the shape that he's using as much as I can. And so I'm drawing these shapes as blocks the way that he has. I've kind of extended the arms out just a little bit just to try and get maybe a little bit more out of it and see if I can continue kind of in the style that he's using. The hips really threw me. They're drawn in a way that I would never approach something. It angled in a way that I would never try, but it was very interesting, and I think I got something from it. And maybe these kinds of drawings will be useful for some of you that have trouble drawing the hips. It's a really novel approach. In this last drawing, I decided to draw the legs from behind and the reference from the right. And when I did my initial block in, I wasn't really looking closely enough at the reference, and my legs ended up being actually quite a bit wider than what you can see in the reference picture. And so I had to go ahead and erase that out and just bring that leg way in, much closer in than I really would have ever felt comfortable, and then rearrange the hips and make the legs work much more like the original reference. And that's where it's great to, again, draw nice and loosely, get that thing roughed in, and then make any changes that you need to make broadly, like I just did right there. Adjusting the knee, adjusting a few things as I go, and just trying to capture as much of his initial drawing as I could. The more of these you do, I keep saying it, but it's true, the better you'll get, the more comfortable you'll get, and the faster you'll be, and the more you'll get out of it. I really hope that you'll give Bridgeman a try, and I hope you'll draw everything in the book. I got so much out of it. I know so many other artists that have done the same, and you will come out of it a very different artist than you went in. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
That's actually a great video. Yeah, that's an amazing video. Yeah, so guys, I will be like, the goal here is to finish as many David Finch tutorials as possible while still learning stuff. So like, of course, it's giving us pointers as well, it's giving us directions, and that's very useful, that's very helpful. And and these books are very essential to our growth as an artist. And I'm just going to like give a Bridgeman a try, like he said, and I'll go through the book. I'm going to be doing some studies here and there, and I'm going to be posting it. But either ways, guys, that'll be it for the video. Thank you guys for joining me again. This was the second stream today. Not a large turnout, but I really appreciate every single person that showed up. And tomorrow, hopefully, we're going to be doing another video again, another live stream, and it's going to be on David Finch. But this time, it won't just be like David Finch tutorial. I'm also going to work on my comic live. That usually doesn't get a lot of buzz. Like, people are usually not hyped up about it, and I understand why. But regardless, I'll work on my comic book tomorrow, and I'll also try and do David Finch video like study. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining. Have a nice day. Peace out. Please, if you haven't liked the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.